Back with you in the arena here in Nantes, France for the second big semifinal, a battle between England and France to see who will face the Americans in the men's doubles final. There you see Hervé DOS SANTOS in the forward position, Miguel DOS SANTOS at goal, the father at forward, the son at goal. They'll be on the left side of your screen representing France. And on the right, the great British player Robert ATHA in the forward position, and his dad, Boris ATHA, playing the goalie position. Father and son versus father and son. Two of the great young players in the world of table soccer, in Miguel DOS SANTOS and a slightly older Robert ATHA. Two veterans of the game, Boris ATHA, who has been involved in the sport of table soccer for many decades. Hervé DOS SANTOS, also a veteran of the French team. Referee for the match, Filip Kubiatovic. The winner of this one will face the Americans, Tom Yor and Brandon Moreland, who upset Frederic Collignon and David de Hust in the other semifinal today. And here we go. The Athas on the right, the DOS SANTOS on the left. Robert ATHA strokes it to the near side. A very active crowd here in the arena. And the British partisans enthusiastic about Robert ATHA's opening shot. Ball will be put back into play by Hervé, who is playing the forward position on Tornado. I anticipate that Miguel will move to forward when we move over across the arena to the French home table, the Bonzini. Obviously, the British playing on Tornado as their home table, and it's a table that's very popular in the United Kingdom, along with the Garlando table and the Bonzini as well. Well, Robert ATHA has had a lot of experience in the United States and has done very well at Tornado tournaments in America. And I think you really would have to consider ATHA probably one of the top 10 Tornado players in the world. You could say the same about Miguel DOS SANTOS, I think, on Bonzini. Certainly a guy the last couple of years has really risen up, and Boris ATHA gets on the scoreboard. Boris finding himself in the spotlight and taking advantage of it as he puts one home down the middle off a man and in. 2-0 lead for the British pair of ATHA and ATHA. Robert and Boris. This is Hervé. Shooting the snake shot. Tried to come near side. The switch and the block by Boris ATHA, so he scores. Then he makes a nice defensive play here. Watch as he switches, blocks, and he'll get possession of the ball. And we'll put it back into play. That shot down the middle on goal, picked up here by Miguel DOS SANTOS. And Miguel, one of these players, one of these young French players who really would be considered a multi-table player now, as that one sneaks behind Boris ATHA. And the French are on the scoreboard. It's now 2-1. Watch here as that one sent off the outside wall. Boris got a piece of it, but then couldn't keep it out. ATHA and ATHA leading 2-1 early on. But to continue our thought about Miguel DOS SANTOS, he is a young player, and he has grown up in an environment of multi-table play as ATHA sets it up and hammers it home to that far side. Watch this. Robert, a lot of speed, a lot of power, and a goal.
Go. Okay, yeah.
3-1 now in favor of the British pair. We are on their home table, however. They are certainly the favorites. Robert ATHA, we mentioned he's probably a top 10 Tornado player, probably a top 5 multi-table player. Hervé now fires that one. Again, Boris, I think, got a piece of it. Knocks it up into the air and off the table and has earned the right to put it back into play. As you will see when we head back over to Bonzini, Robert ATHA also very, very good on that table. But Robert, I think in most people's opinion, and still a relatively young man, certainly one of the 5 best multi-table players in the world. Boris taking a lot of time here. Sends that one off the corner, and his son picks it up, then sends it back to Dad, who puts that one wide. This time ATHA does pick up the loose ball, and will set it up, looking for a 4-1 lead. Robert ATHA pokes it down the middle. ATHA and ATHA up 4-1 thanks to efforts like this. As ATHA timed that one beautifully, found the hole down the middle. So on their home table, Robert ATHA and Boris ATHA have surged ahead here, and we get a switch on the left side. Miguel DOS SANTOS now in the forward position. Hervé DOS SANTOS at goal. We'll get a chance to see Miguel at forward. And again, he is a young player, young French player like Adel Yousfi. Sebastian Mekes, who, while a veteran player, is certainly a guy that is evolving, I think, into a multi-table player, as are many of the French, who traditionally, for basically ever, have been Bonzini-only players. Setting it up here is Miguel DOS SANTOS, working a pin series, and Boris ATHA there to take it away. Still 4-1 in favor of the Athas. Boris has put several shots on goal, has played very well back there. That one blocked back towards the goal. This is Hervé. And ATHA will pick it up, set it up, and look to win game number 1. The first shot attempt blocked and taken away. Robert going with something quick there. Hervé fires that one down the middle, up into the air and off the table again. ATHA will put it into play. Boris ATHA. Long walk there for Miguel to get the loose ball and hand it to Boris ATHA, who will put it into play. He and his son Robert are leading 4-1 here in game number 1. Semi-final of men's doubles here at the 2011 ITSF World Championships and World Cup. That shot quickly down the middle by Hervé, picked up by Boris. Boris's pull kick is blocked by Miguel. And another nice pickup off the back wall by Robert ATHA. Another chance for Robert ATHA to give his team a 1-0 lead as he sets it up and comes back down the middle. So the Athas, Robert and Boris, a strong opening performance. Watch here. Robert faked and hammered it right between the men of Hervé DOS SANTOS. Well, now move across the arena to the Bonzini table, the French home table. And the DOS SANTOS family, Hervé and Miguel, both very, very strong Bonzini players. But so is the forward there, Robert ATHA. So this will be interesting. Oftentimes, the winners of multi-table matches are the teams or the players who are a little better on the opponent's table than the opponent is on their table. And that might be the case here if ATHA and ATHA do eventually win. It might be because I think that Robert ATHA on the Bonzini table is stronger than either of the DOS SANTOS on Tornado. But we will see. That's why they play the matches.
We are ready. So whenever you're ready.
Here we go. Second game. Underway with Robert and Boris ATHA leading 1-0.
Yeah, you can start.
Bounce pass attempt by Miguel, who put it into play. Comes back to Hervé, and Hervé, an offensive weapon back there at goal. I don't think we're going to get any offense out of Boris ATHA in this game. Boris has played some Bonzini, but generally, I think, just basically tries to get the ball up the table to his son, one way or the other. And Robert ATHA will either shoot a pull shot or a standard pin on the Bonzini table, and he does both very well. Although I think his pull shot might be his best shot. We'll see what he chooses to go with when he gets a possession. Boris tries to come down the middle, blocked by Miguel, back into the goal. That's why it can be dangerous to shoot if you aren't accustomed on the Bonzini table. Watch here. He tries to shoot it down the middle, and Miguel all over it.
Yep.
We are on the French home table here in game number 2. Robert ATHA. Truly one of the most entertaining players to watch, I think, when you see the things that this young man can do on a foosball table. Just remarkable skill. And he's able to get his team on the scoreboard as well here in game number 2. It's 1-1. Robert brings it across and then fakes the pull shot, hits the straight. Nice play by ATHA. It's 1-1. I think Robert looked up and enjoyed that replay as well. Miguel coming back. Miguel very quick to the corners, very good at reading the defense on the Bonzini table. Tried to flick that one, didn't execute it. Interesting choice to open up his offensive repertoire here in game number 2. Would have expected him probably to get it and try to go to a corner. Now Boris just needs to get the ball up the table. He does here, but it comes back at him, and then Miguel picks it up off that back wall. Miguel resets and strokes it home far side. And that's what he does so well. The big, hard fakes and then the long stroking shots.
Go. Ready?
2-1 lead for Miguel and Hervé DOS SANTOS. They're on the left. We are in the second game. Smooth wall pass here by ATHA. Robert again will shoot the pull shot. If he can get a set, no, he'll shoot a little pull kick with that near man. So creative, so talented. Robert ATHA truly with all the tools when he plays the sport of table soccer, including this little effort. It's 2-2.
Go.
Miguel. Nice pass along that wall. That is not an easy pass to execute on a Bonzini table. And this is a man who has spent a lot of time playing Bonzini foosball. And one of the rising stars, I think, in the world of table soccer, not only on the Bonzini table, but in multi-table competition as well, as he continues to improve on the other 4 ITSF tables. But also his Bonzini game is just so strong. In multi-table play, he is seldom going to lose, in my opinion, as he grows as a player. Right now, Boris giving him fits, though, as he has not been able to score the 3 previous shots, but he does so here as he again finds the far corner. Hervé has a suggestion. I think we may see a switch here. We do. Hervé, who usually calls the shots, is usually the coach on the team, and it's Miguel not always happy with the decisions, and I'm not sure he is here. But he does move back to goal. Hervé to forward. Beautiful brush pass by ATHA. See what Robert does here. This time he's shooting against Miguel. Tic-tacking. Now setting up the pull. Not much time remaining, but he'll call timeout. Robert ATHA and Boris ATHA lead 1-0 in this semifinal match. Hervé DOS SANTOS, Miguel DOS SANTOS leading here in the second game. Crowd very involved tonight. Great to see. It's the 2011 ITSF World Championships, and of course the World Cup also. The biggest event in all the world of table soccer. Good match underway here in the finals area. It's a semifinal in men's doubles. Robert ATHA will set it up, looking to tie it up at 3 here in game 2. ATHA shooting against Miguel. Strokes it down the middle. And that's the hole on the Bonzini table. If you take your time, you can shoot the split middle almost 80% of the time, and your shooting percentage is going to be very high. 3-3 here in game 2 as the ATHA's attempt to steal one on the French home table. Miguel, though, has a chance to tie it up. Boris has blocked him pretty well so far. Miguel, though, with a big fake and going to a corner, although he tries to go back out to that far corner. And again, Boris is there. Boris ATHA really playing well. Able to clear the zone. Comes back to Hervé. Hervé tried to angle it. ATHA baited him for it, then took it away. Robert ATHA will set it up and look to take the lead. Or he'll tic-tac. Tried to come with that little pull kick. Clock will reset as the ball bounces back to him on his shooting rod. Ball's rolling away from him, and Robert's going to be forced to use a second and final timeout. This is a big possession for Robert ATHA. He realizes it, uses the timeout. He'll return to the table here momentarily with a chance to give his team the lead. So DOS SANTOS discussing who should defend. I think Hervé trying to talk Miguel into going back there. You see that one just wide. The hole actually looked like it might have been there.
5 seconds.
Let's see who will defend against ATHA. It's going to be Miguel.
Time. Ready?
Robert ATHA will put it into play. 3-3 here in game 2. Robert just can't get a pull shot set on that side. Sprayed that one wide. Clock was running. He got forced into something he really didn't want to do. Robert wants to shoot his pull shot, just not able to get a set. And that is the Bonzini table. The Bonzini style of play is really a pin style of play. The great players in France and around Europe shoot pin shots. But the pull shot can be very, very effective if you can get it set up. ATHA does, finally. Takes a look. Try to go straight. Blocked and taken away. Miguel sends it up the table. It comes back to him. Miguel also very good at shooting the ball. Clears it off that corner here. Hervé able to pick it up. Looks like Hervé's going to shoot it for the lead. Tried to come near side. Boris again there. And stroking it home here is Hervé DOS SANTOS against Boris ATHA. Big shot there. Gives his team the lead. Hervé quickly back down the middle, although Boris appeared to be where Hervé was intending to shoot the ball. Now 4-3. Robert ATHA had a couple of shots to give his team the lead, and now Hervé can give his team the game as he sets it up against Boris. And finds the hole near side. Best shot of the match by Hervé DOS SANTOS as he drills the near corner. Watch this. Really gets a lot of speed on it and nails it near side. We head back over to Tornado now, tied up at 1 game apiece. Robert ATHA made it interesting in that second game after he and his father won the opening game 5-1. At 3-3, Robert ATHA had 3 shots to give his team the lead. Just could not get a set on that pull shot, and it cost him and might have cost the Athas that second game. But the French do hold on their home table as we now move to Tornado for game number 3. Boris ATHA has played a strong match. Sends that one up the table, does clear the zone. And that one blocked up into the air and off the table. Again, who is better on the opponent's table? I think both of these teams are fully capable of holding every single time on their home table, of course. But who is better on the opponent's home table in this match? That one angled forward, almost looked like an illegal advance. And we've got a question. I believe Boris might have had that ball pinned at one point, and they are calling it. I think that's a good call. That was an illegal advance. Robert ATHA certainly knew it. All 4 players knew it. And Miguel will put it into play on his 5. Try to go along that near wall. Can't hold on to it. Robert ATHA able to pick it up here. Brush it gently through the lane. Robert will set up the snake shot against Hervé, looking for the early lead here in game 3. Robert ATHA. Stokes it home to the far side. Robert taking his time beautifully. And when ATHA takes his time, his shooting percentage is sky high. It's 1-0. Winner of this match will face the American team of Tom Yor and Brandon Moreland. Yes, that's right. They won the other semifinal over Frederic Collignon and David de Hust.
Dead ball.
That one's going to roll to a dead stop. Put back into play by Hervé. Shot down the middle towards the goal. Boris has played a very strong defensive match and has scored as well. Look at that beautiful tic-tac bounce pass by Robert ATHA, who will set it up looking for a 2-0 lead. And he finds it. As I believe he cut this one back down the middle. Let's see. Bit of a wiggle, and down the middle he goes. Miguel. Dos Santos trailing 2-0. Tries a left hook here. Kind of telegraphed it. Robert ATHA was all over it. Hervé with a shot down the middle and in. Big shot there from Hervé. We expected him to score from goal, just maybe didn't expect it on the Tornado table. Watch this. That one, I guess, took a roundabout way to get there. 2-1 now in favor of Robert and Boris, and the ball stolen away by Hervé, who has moved into the offensive position. And when Hervé gets it, usually he shoots it. And he scores it. It's 2-2. So the French now threatening to steal one, as Hervé again finds that near corner. Two-two. Here in game 3, all tied up at a game apiece. Men's doubles semifinal here in Nantes in the year 2011. Atha able to brush that one easily through the lane. Will set it up, looking to regain the lead, shooting against Miguel. And again, when Robert takes 6 or 7 or 8 seconds, he seems almost 100% shooting the ball. Like that. It's remarkable. But that's how good this guy is. He whipped that one all the way out to that far corner. We will definitely have a father-son team in the men's doubles final here this year. Which one will it be, though? In a very closely contested match so far, and Boris down the middle. Boris enjoying his moment in the spotlight for sure, as he simply sat there and angled it in. It's 4-2. Chipped up here. Boy, the crowd really into it, really having a great time here tonight. Great to see. Great to hear. Hervé will look to cut the lead to 1, and he does, continuing to shoot the ball well on Tornado. Not easy to shoot a pin shot on the Tornado table. That one cut back between. We know one guy who has been extremely successful shooting the European-style front pin on the Tornado table, and of course that's Frédéric Collignon, who arguably is the greatest player ever on Tornado. But then you look at if anyone else has ever done that, and there really isn't anybody. Dieter Thiele, the great German player, had some success shooting a pin back in the 1990s. But really, of all the great pin shooters in Europe, the only one that's had a great deal of success on Tornado is Frédéric Collignon. But Hervé DOS SANTOS has been shooting it well. Get a look at that beautiful bounce pass that Robert ATHA executed early in the match, kind of a tic-tac bounce, very fast. Robert ATHA puts it into play. He and his father, Boris, leading 4-3 now. He'll shoot against Hervé, looking to give his team a 2-1 lead. Robert ATHA. Again, taking his time. This one, though, blocked nicely by Hervé. Robert looking to get it back, and he does. Robert ATHA tried to come near side. Nice bait and switch there. But really, Robert ATHA certainly a better shooter when he sits on the ball. Try to go with something quick here. And Hervé got out there to block it.
You first. 50 seconds.
Miguel DOS SANTOS will put the ball back into play. Little shot attempt there, blocked away by ATHA, Robert ATHA. Shot up the table. This one is grabbed by Boris. 4-3 lead for the Englishmen on their home table here in game number 3. See what Boris elects to do. ATHA, Robert ATHA, able to dig this one out on his 5. Robert's had 2 chances to give his team a 2-1 lead and can't connect on the pass here.
Dead ball.
Put back into play by Miguel. Shot attempt blocked by Robert ATHA. Shot down the middle towards the goal. Stabbed the other way by Boris and then Robert. And eventually dug out by Miguel, who will put it back into play after it rolled to a dead stop. Robert. Look for Robert to take things under control right here, right now. He knows how important this game is. He's able to pass it, set it up, shooting against Miguel, and that one wide of the goal. So Robert ATHA has had 3 shots, has been unable to do it. Keeping the French hopes alive of stealing this 3rd game, although they still trail by a goal. Robert able to pick it up on his 5 once again. Well, what great ball control. Robert ATHA this time will call timeout. Bringing you third game action from the men's semifinal, the second of two semifinals here at the 2011 ITSF World Championships. Ball put back into play by Robert ATHA. Tried to go back to the far side. That's 4 shots that Robert ATHA has had to give his team a 2-1 lead. Miguel DOS SANTOS will put it back into play. That one off the outside wall. Boris keeps it out. He'll get another chance here. Boris just tried to squeeze it along that near wall, and a fortunate turn of events for the Athas as it again ends up in the hands of Robert ATHA on his 5. Tic-tac wall pass. His 5th chance to close out game number 3. Robert stokes it down the middle, and finally there it is. Robert and Boris ATHA have surged ahead 2-1 as Robert finds the middle of the goal. The two teams have held on their home tables so far. Robert and Boris ATHA won games 1 and 3 on their home table, the Tornado. The Dos Santos won game number 2, and the British fans enjoying themselves. A few French fans down below there as well. Marquee matchup for a Saturday evening here in Nantes. Back to the Bonzini table we go. Miguel DOS SANTOS will put it into play. And he does, opening up game number 4. If the Athas win this game on the Bonzini table, something they are certainly capable of, they reach the final. And Miguel has a possession, then loses it. Comes back to Boris, whose only job back there is to get an occasional block and clear the zone. Miguel for the early lead. Angles it to that near side. It's 1-0. I think that Miguel probably anticipated Boris staying in that defense. Instead, he switches the man over, and it's angled behind him. 1-0 lead for Hervé and Miguel. They're on the left. They're from France. On the right, Robert ATHA in the forward position. Boris ATHA at goal. They're from England. See if Robert can get a set. Tried to go with something quick here. Looked like he almost had one, then chose not to use it. 2-1 lead for the Athas. 1-0 lead here in the 4th game for Hervé and Miguel. That angling effort, if it doesn't get caught the first time, generally it's going to come off that back wall. You got to be quick to grasp it if you're at that goalie position, because oftentimes the forward will get an extra possession, as Hervé does here, and he now gives his team a 2-0 lead. Miguel scored the first one, Hervé the second, both to that near corner. Robert ATHA tried to go with that high lane, blocked by Hervé. Robert again, fortunate to get this one through, can cut the lead in half. Still trying to get a set, a pull shot set. And instead brings it across and angles it in. And taps an apology. Let's see if we're going to get a switch there as well. I don't think so, but you see Robert angling it in. I think he meant to go straight to the corner. We are going to get the switch as Boris moving to forward. Robert back defensively. It's now 2-1, and of course, if Boris gets possession of it, he'll call timeout and bring Robert back to forward.
Go.
Miguel tries to pass it down the middle, and it goes in against Robert. It's 3-1, so they elected to switch, and it might have cost him a little bit. as that one just got simply knocked in at an angle. Atha frustrated that he couldn't keep that one out. He'll now return to forward. In his father, Boris, trailing 3-1, but Robert can cut the lead back to 1 here. Still trying to get the set. He does. Looking at the middle and finds it. It's 3-2. Really, all you wait for as a pull shooter is for the defender to switch back to the standard, and then you hammer that square middle. It'll be there seemingly 90% of the time. 3-2 lead. Miguel has it knocked away and stolen away by Robert. Robert again gets a good set. You wait, you wait, you wait. And you find a middle. It's 3-3. Robert really took his time beautifully. And then watch this. This ball does go right down the middle and back out. It is a tried and true formula with the pull shot on the Bonzini. You shoot a straight early in the match, let them know you're willing to do it. Shoot a long to show them you have it. And then just wait and hit nothing but middle seemingly the rest of the match. We've seen Atha do it before on Bonzini. We've seen the great German player Tim Ludwig and a few others shoot the pull shot on the Bonzini table and have a great deal of success. Big crowd here tonight, really enjoying this great semifinal match between England and France. Robert Atha will put the ball back into play, tied up at 3 here in game number 4, 2 in a row from the Athas. Have made this 4th game interesting. That one just cleared by Miguel. Hervé able to pick it up on his 5-rod, and he'll now look to advance at that long chip angle. Incompleted. Here's Boris. Boris dangerously tries to come down the middle. That one angled, but is blocked back to him. Now he'll try a pin shot. Hervé again there defensively. Just looking to clear it. Looking to get it to his boy, but instead it's stolen away. Easier said than done. Hervé now can give his team the lead. And there's Boris to take it, block it, and then send it up the table to Robert. Great play by Boris. Robert comes back with a rolling pull shot. It is match point for Robert and Boris Atha in this semifinal match. Robert couldn't get it set, so he comes back with a roller. Way out there. Miguel returning to forward here. I think that's the smart move. Miguel will get an opportunity here to tie it up at 4. They've got to have this ball to stay alive. Miguel angles it in. Boy, he is so good at this particular shot where he brings it over and gently rushes it into the goal. We've got a timeout. The French crowd imploring their men to keep this match alive and send it to a 5th and final game. I think just about everybody in the crowd is hoping that, except for the English fans who would love to see it ended in this game here. It's 4-4 here in the 4th. The French must have it to stay alive. If those two gentlemen get it, they move to the final. Robert putting it into play, brushing it through the lane, will have a chance to win the match right here. Atha setting up the pull shot. Looking at the middle, but doesn't execute. I think he was trying to take it out to the long hole there. Hervé with a rebound. Adds it on a front pin. Dos Santos, Hervé sends it up the table where it's picked up by Miguel. Miguel brushing it down. Now he'll have a chance to send this one to game number 5. Miguel Dos Santos shooting against Boris ATHA. Finds the hole to the far side. It's 2 games apiece. Big shot from Miguel Dos Santos as he sends this match to a 5th and final game. And of course, the 5th game format divided between those 2 tables right there, the Tornado, where we'll start with the first ball, and of course the Bonzini table. We'll play 1 on the Tornado, 2 on Bonzini, back and forth with 2 until somebody wins by 2. Crowd really loving it now. There is nothing better, I think, in the world of table soccer competitively than a 5th game in a big match like this at a World Championship event or a World Cup. Players love it. The fans love it, as you can see. And the announcers don't mind it too much either. Robert ATHA will put the ball into play on his home table, opening up game number 5, and he's going to have to use an early timeout. Was concerned about bringing that ball off the table and getting called for 3 walls. So an early 5th game timeout, very early for Robert and Boris ATHA. They now have just 1 remaining in what could be potentially a very long 5th game. We have seen these 5th games go as far as 15-13, and I think there was an 18-16 final game. That's Hervé DOS Santos at forward, Miguel DOS Santos at goal. They will defend against Robert and Boris ATHA as Rob puts it back into play. Brushes it through. Referee Filip Kubiatovic of Poland. And that one knocked in. It's 1-0 as we now move over to the Bonzini table. Watch here. As that one off a man, then behind the French goalie. So the British strike first on their home table. They hold their first ball, and Robert ATHA is going to start this second set of balls at the goalie position, in defensive position.
Let's go.
ATHA and ATHA leading 1-0 here in the 5th game. But back to the French table we go. Miguel, who really closed out that 4th game with authority, has it knocked down by Boris. Of course, if Boris can get possession of it, he'll call timeout and bring his talented son back to the forward position. But Miguel able to bounce this one through. He'll set it up against Robert. Near side, back into the goal. What a tough break there, and the British have broken as the shot by Miguel Dos Santos comes back just wide of the goal, then right back into their own goal. Boy, that is a tough break for the French early on here in this 5th game. Robert staying back at goal, and the British now have a bit of a cushion. They have broken on the French home table. And that one almost knocked down and stolen away by Boris. Comes back to Hervé. Shot down the middle. Knocked back in by the 5-rod of Miguel Dos Santos. So in that series on the Bonzini table, what basically turned out to be 2 own goals. And the British are up 3-0 here in game number 5 as we head back over to the Tornado table. Boy, Robert and Boris in great position now after a couple of really, really tough breaks for the French. Pass attempt by Miguel. Rather Hervé in the forward position. Hervé will set it up and stroke it home. That is a big shot from Hervé Dos Santos. It's now 3-1 thanks to Hervé, who found that near side of the goal to break through on the British home table. But Robert ATHA will put it back into play, looking to answer. He'll get an opportunity here to give his team a 4-1 lead. He sets up the snake shot and strokes it back down the middle. Match point for Robert and Boris ATHA. We now move back over to the Bonzini table. Watch here as Robert really hit a nice, tight little push middle. Match point for Robert and Boris ATHA. Miguel will put it back into play. He is in the forward position on the left side. 2 own goals on the Bonzini table, really hurting the French. They're down 3-2, but Miguel able to find that hole to the far side. Watch this. Miguel danced around with it, then went gently to the far corner. 4-2 lead now for ATHA and ATHA. Still match point. And Robert can't hold on to it. It squirts towards the goal, kept out by Miguel. Obviously, the French need both of these balls on their home table. And there's that play again, where you just angle it into the corner. And most of the time, it's going to come off to where your forward can catch it. Hervé now can cut the lead to 1. And he does. So, the French get both balls on their home table as they needed to do. We now move back over to Tornado, and it's now 4-3 in favor of ATHA and ATHA as Hervé cuts this one back between. Ball put into play by Robert ATHA. It remains match point, and Robert will have a chance to win it right here as he sets up the snake shot and strokes it home. In 5 competitive games, Robert ATHA and Boris ATHA defeat Miguel and Hervé DOS SANTOS in a semifinal match in men's doubles to advance to the final. Robert ATHA closes the deal down the middle. Great performance by the British team. As you can see, their fans standing and applauding the outstanding effort of ATHA and ATHA, who have reached the men's doubles final, where they'll face Tom Yore and Brandon Moreland of the United States. You see the scores. It went 5, but it was the British who came out on top.